How do you fix problems with your nails if they're on your good hand and you've got to use your non-dominant hand to fix them? Tracey is going to show you all those details right now.
Today, I am going to be trying my hardest to work on my opposite hand. I am not a lefty. I do not do well when it comes to non-dominant hand. I have people that ask, like, how do you do your opposite hand? Not gracefully. That's how I do it. It's not pretty. It's not a pretty process. But we were getting ready to do some filming, and I'm like, there has to be something done with this hand before we film. We have to take care of it. We might as well do it on film and share it with you. So I got a lot going on. There's a lot of grow out. I don't know if you guys can see it, and I'll show you guys on overhead camera a little closer, but I have a nail that goes, I don't know where it's going. It's just going in its own opposite direction and there's no helping it. So we're gonna have to take care of that. I have cracks. I don't know. They need help. And so I'm gonna take you along for the ride. Okay, let's see. So let me get my hair back, get the glasses on, and we'll kind of assess what we got going on. And I don't know which the best way is, and Jorge, the camera guy, will tell me which one's best, but I don't know if you guys can see it here. But if you're looking at this nail, it's given the wrong directions right now. It's like, oh, go this way. No, we don't want to go that way. We want to go straight. So at this point, there's no helping this nail. Like, we have to we're just going to get rid of it, right? So I'm going to make sure I don't clip. If I have an extended hyponychium, we're just going to take our toenail clippers and clip both sides and get rid of it. If there's nails like this that I need to get rid of, whether I'm doing myself or a customer, I do this first. Take care of it. Why file, electric file, a bunch of product that you're just going to remove anyway? So we took care of that, got rid of that. The rest of them, they look pretty straight. Okay, so let's talk about the other issues I'm dealing with today. First of all, I got some lifting. It's been a while. It has been just a moment for these nails. And so they have been through some abuse. And this is a classic example of a grown out nail when we actually have to rebalance. I'm not talking about cutting in smile lines. I'm talking about, like, structurally, the shape and the structure is off. And what I mean by that is, like, where we want it thin, right, is right back here, and I'm way grown out from there, right? So the thinner part that's usually in this area is now growing out more to the stress area. And what happens, let's see what's the best way to get it. Can you guys see the stress cracks? That's caused by this part where it's supposed to be thinner. We want it thinner back here, but now it's going where it's the meat of the nail, I call it. It's the thicker part in the stress area. So now it's the thin parts there. And as I'm cleaning or doing something or grabbing things, I'm constantly kind of putting pressure on it, and I'm getting these little nice cracks in our nail. How do we take care of them? What do we do? Do we sit there and panic and just look at it and hope it goes away? I always say that doing nails is the fastest way of doing nails is knowing what to do when you make a mistake or there's a problem. So we want to be able to assess really quickly and decide what are we going to do to take care of that. Okay, let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it. We have lifting and we have some cracks, and then we had this nail that just was doing its own thing, so we have to take care of that. So first thing I'm going to do, if it's a client or if it's my nails, I'm going to start by pushing back the cuticle. And again, guys, I am not graceful with my left hand, so bear with me. So we're just going to push back just like I would with a customer. When working on a customer, this is my time to be assessing. I would do this even before I clipped that nail off probably. And what this is doing is not only, one, important that I push back the cuticles, right? We want to do that. But two, this is my time to sit there and look. Oh, that nail's crooked. Oh, that nail's lifted. Oh, I have cracks on those nails. I don't need my customer to explain the story behind every single nail, right? I want to be able to assess it while I'm working. We're always in motion. We're always working. Client can tell me about what happened as I'm working. Okay, so after that's done, normally if this was just a fill, I would grab my arbor band and we'd prep our natural nail, but I have lifting issues and I need to take the bulk of this nail down, right? So I'm not gonna grab my arbor band and prep my natural nail first. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my safety bit coarse or my X-cut, and we're gonna take the bulk down first in those areas that we need. Okay, so let's just grab our safety bit coarse, especially since I'm working with lefty. I won't risk the X-cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it up. And I like to work about 14,000 RPMs when I'm doing this. But let me first, actually I'm jumping ahead, guys. Jumping ahead. I gotta show you what I need to take care of. And sometimes when it's a new nail, it's kind of hard to see the lifted area. As we work, it kind of exposes itself a little bit more. But right here, this is all lifted on my thumb. So I need to make sure to take care of that. Okay, so what I'm not gonna do though, is I'm not gonna grab nippers and start pulling and prying at that. When we take nippers and we start prying and lifting, we are not only prying at lifted artificial nail, we are prying on nail that's down. And this is how we can end up with damage, because if I keep on prying and prying, I'm also prying at the stuff that's secured on that natural nail, which is gonna pull layers of that natural nail up. And I don't know if you've ever done this. This is how I was taught to do it at first. By the time I would be done with just this amount of lifting, I'd probably almost have this whole nail off because I'm causing lifting as I'm doing it, right? Another thing we don't want to do is we don't want to sit there and grab some glue and go, well, I'll just glue it down. When you have lifting, you need to take care of your lifting. Lifting will cause lifting. If you never take care of lifting, you're always going to have lifting. Okay, so safety bit, I'm going to start at 13,000 RPM, see if that works for me. Again, I'm working on my opposite hand, so it's a little different. I don't work in reverse. I know some people, when I started with an electric file, I didn't have reverse, so I've taught myself to always work in forward. So I personally work in forward, and I still work with my right-handed bit, but I pull this way. So if I'm working on a customer, right, I pull towards myself, right? But when I'm working on myself this way, I'm gonna pull away from myself. And that's gonna keep the bit going in the right direction. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is concentrate on that lifted area. Okay, now it's important because I'm not as graceful as I am with my right hand. Not that I'm very graceful with the right hand either, but I'm making sure I put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up. This is gonna keep me from causing rings of fire, it getting hot on me. I'm always keeping it in motion, and I'm watching my pressure, because when you're working with a hand you're not used to, sometimes you put more pressure down than you think you are. So I'm very mindful to keep it a light pressure. Now, if you guys notice, we're starting to expose more of that lifted area. Now I can start to see it, right? As you thin it out, you get to see it. Okay, so I know I need to be right in front of it. Okay, still have some there, and I'm just gonna lightly, and there it goes. Took care of it. We want to make sure we go all the way through, and where the lifting stops, again, take care of all your lifting issues, and it's gone, right? Here I have just a little bit of lifting, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Cool. Now again, I don't need to take out a bunch of product. Everything else is down, secure. There's no need to electrify a bunch off. It's just a waste of product if we do that. We just want to take care of that lifted area, a little bit right there, and we're good. Okay, so we need to go through, and we're gonna do that to all the fingers that are lifted. I'm gonna skip around because I'm not gonna bore you guys with me doing my whole set. We're gonna move on to this nail. Now this nail not only is lifted, right? I also need to take that bulk down because I'm going to reform it. So I'm gonna kind of secure myself. If you notice, I have my elbows down because again, I want balance. I never want to be kind of up in the air like this. I want to be able to balance myself. I'm pushing my thumbnail against my finger to kind of brace it, and then I'm going in and just doing that again, mindful of my touch. I'm going by that lifted area. I'm putting it down, I'm lifting it up, putting it down, I'm lifting it up. Now again, I gotta take more of this bulk off, so I'm gonna just kind of start going through and removing the excess. So again, we're just gonna keep going through, and I'm always gonna keep that electric file, same as if I'm working on whatever hand I'm working on. Client, myself, I'm keeping it in motion, removing that bulk. When you're doing your non-dominant hand or working with your non-dominant hand, I'm not sure which way we describe it, but if we're doing it, I usually just take more time and a little more precise about what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going through. Get that lifting. Again, I'm not on my natural nail. I'm on product. Thinning it down. Taking care of it. I'm gonna look at it a lot, my point of view, see where I'm at, because I'm kind of working from a distance. I wanna see, I still have a little lifting on this side, and I wanna thin it down a little bit more on that side. So I'm sorry guys if you can't see, but again, I'm just pulling the bit away from me. I'm lightening my touch because I don't have much more product down. I have more on here, so I'm gonna go put a little more pressure, but back here, just a light touch just to make sure I got rid of that lifting here. Light touch. I think we're good. Sweet. Next issue. If you can see, it's those crack issues, right? Right there. Now, when we're working with a crack, I always describe it as working with a pothole. If you ever watch construction workers, and I don't know why I've watched this, but I've watched it, whenever they fill a hole or a crack in the road, they never just cut in the little thin crack area, right? So let's see if we can demonstrate this. They have a crack in the road. They never just cut the crack in the road and fill it in. They always go wider. So they go deep here and they start to go deeper through here, and then they start shallowing out through this area. They go wider than the crack. Why? Because if they just do the crack area, it's gonna re-crack. Okay, you're not gonna fill it in properly, and what happens is movement in the pavement or movement in a house structure or whatever it is, it starts to move and that crack resurfaces. But when they go wider like this, it's less likely that that's going to happen. We have to do the same thing when we are dealing with a crack in the nail. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of turn it this way, and I'm gonna just lightly, because it's thin there, remember? In fact, I'm gonna just turn it down just a little bit because we are working in a thinner area. I'm at 12,000 RPMs. Okay, and I'm gonna go through to that crack, and we're gonna go this way also. We wanna make sure, first of all, that we're going until that crack stops, and we wanna go further even. Bracing myself. Again, maybe next time I'll try to do this on a person so you can see a little bit better, but hey, why not? Okay, I'm going all the way through, and I'm going around it, out past it. I'm gonna turn it, I'm gonna look a little bit closer, guys, and make sure that I got as close as I need to. I'm gonna go this way a little bit more, because I wanna make sure it's going further, because that cover, because this is our thick area, kind of is hiding the crack. So we want to make sure that we have taken care of all of it. Better to go way further. You'll get a feel for it once you've done this a couple times, than not far enough. Okay, I am all the way down to my natural nail. Guys, I wasn't on my natural nail. Let me explain a little bit. Like, people are like, "Oh my gosh, you have that bit on your natural nail." I was not. I would tell you, I wouldn't do anything that would hurt myself. I wouldn't do it to a client. I'm especially not going to do it to myself. So trust me, I have thinned it completely out, but I was not on my natural nail itself. So I don't have to thin everything else out around it. I am going to take care of this lifting. If you want to thin a little bit, maybe thin a little bit here. Make sure again that we are going wider past that crack. So when we put product on it, it's going to not surface back through. Okay, time for the real prep. Okay, so always want to take care of lifting first, then we go into prep work, makes it nice and easy. I'm going to switch out to my medium zebra arbor band. This is a brand new one, so I am going to make sure that I prep it so I don't cut myself or cut a client. And basically it's like seasoning your hand file. You just run it on a file that takes any sharpness off, and that way you can get nice tucked up into that cuticle area with no problems. So this is always challenging. I'm gonna start at the cuticle area first, and I'm gonna kind of come this way. Again, I'm pulling away from myself so that bit is doing something. Usually with a client, you can kind of pull back that skin. What I do with musts, I'm gonna pull it back here, make sure I get right in there. Right, it's just a little slower pace. I'm working on 4,000 RPMs. It's good enough. I'm gonna hold my P file flat, just kind of remove the shine. I'm not really worried about the shine up here. Acrylic will stick to acrylic. Plus I'm gonna file this. What I'm worried about is just any natural nail that's exposed. Okay. Here, sorry guys, I'm trying to do this where you can see, but me balanced too. And again, I'm always balanced. If you notice, I'm holding my finger here. If I was doing a client, I'm working like this. When I'm working here, I'm balancing it on these fingers. I'm gonna try to get that one finger out of the way. And we're just gonna start, make sure we get that cuticle area. That is the most important. Again, I'm not putting pressure down. I'm just letting that bit, that sanding band, do the job for me. I did get asked the other day, like, can't I use a fine sanding bit? My answer is no. A fine sanding bit is just too smooth. Now, we're not here to do damage to the nail. We're not here to completely rough it up. We are here to add a little texture. That's why I find the medium to be perfect, because it's not coarse, it's not gonna do any damage, and it's gonna just give you that just perfect texture to that nail. Okay, so again, here, we are gonna come in here, all the way through, turn my finger, make sure all that stuff is out of there. Okay, now a little natural nail kind of exposed. We're gonna make sure we hit that. Make sure we hit any natural nail. A little lifting right here. I'm gonna just take care of, it's minimal, so sanding band was perfect. Follow through, remove the shine. Good to go. Same thing here. Sorry guys. Follow through. Make sure we're nice and clean. Follow through, remove the shine. A little left in that corner. Again, no pressure. I'm not putting pressure down. Through here. Pinky is the most difficult for me. Like I can't even really balance because there's nothing to balance on, so it's a little more stressful. But we got it. Okay. Done with that. Just gonna dry dust myself off. Grab my swipe. And again, I'm gonna just pull away from myself, making sure all that dust is gone, that the nail is nice and dehydrated and ready for our protein bond. This kind of gives you a really good idea too, like did I miss any lifting? This will kind of expose everything. The next thing you guys get to make fun of me at is trying to apply acrylic with my left hand. This should be entertainment. First thing we're gonna do is grab that protein bond and make sure we get our 2 coats on. Natural nail, I'm not really worried about the product. If you get it on the product, it's not a big deal. You just don't want it, you want to make sure that you don't, it's just a waste of product if you get it on the artificial stuff. So I try to just keep it on the natural nail. It won't yellow it or do anything if you do get it on the artificial nail. It's just a waste. And do that to all of 10 fingers, and we're gonna come back and do our second coat. And we are set. Trying to think if I was doing this typically, I would probably do my one that I need to form first, and the reason being is it's going to take longer for it to set up, so might as well do that one first so it is curing and drying and getting set. I'm going to pop this open too. Now typically when I'm working on a customer, I don't usually pre-pinch, but for some reason when I'm working on my opposite hand, I always pre-pinch. I don't know why, it's just easier for me. So there's no right or wrong way of doing it. Now this, as you guys saw, this finger tends to grow crooked, so I'm gonna try to straighten it out. You guys will have clients like that. We get asked a lot. Like, I have a client that has a crooked finger, and as it grows out, it grows crooked. Or I have a client with a ski slope nail, which means it grows up. And how do I fix it? You can't. Like, we can try to correct it and try to get through it as long as possible, but eventually, just like I had to, you're probably gonna have to cut it off after, who knows, maybe 6 months worth of fills. It might just be 3 months. It depends how severe it grows that way, but typically you're gonna have to do what I just did on those. Okay, so make sure our form is nice and tight. Guys, don't laugh, okay? First of all, this is the first set of acrylic I've done in like, I don't know how long, and second, it's my opposite hand, so laugh with me, not at me. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my liquid. I'm gonna go ahead and bleed it out. That way it kind of sets it up, so I'm working more of a clay-like, and I'm gonna put that right here. Gives me time to kind of push it up. Wipe my brush off. That way it's not running and I'm not trying to play catch up. I'm gonna push it out. I'm using that body of that brush. Get it up. Okay, and I'm gonna wipe my brush off a lot because I tend to shove a lot more acrylic in the brush when I'm working on myself than I would a client. I think he has these way more tapered than I'm tapering this one. It just has to be a sister. It's not an identical twin. It just has to be in the family. It's good enough. She's related. She might just be a distant cousin, but she's related. Okay. And I'm gonna work in more pearls than I would typically too. So I'm gonna kind of just get it more on my brush. Smaller pearl. I'm gonna bleed that out and I'm gonna set it right, not all the way back to my cuticle. I'm gonna work more in my stress area. Wipe my brush off, give it a couple seconds to set up. I'm holding my finger down, letting that good old gravity work for us. Pushing it back in so it's blending into the back. And pulling it out. Oh Lord. Okay, we're okay, we're okay. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna add a little bit of pearl here. A little wetter. A lot more hand filing when I do my opposite hand. We definitely need some more product at the tip, but I'm gonna worry about what I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna get a little bit more, a little bit of a wetter pearl, and I'm gonna hold my finger down and I'm gonna work that cuticle area. Kind of blend it in. Woohoo! Okay. And I'm gonna just add some more on that tip because it's definitely not thick enough, and it's not thick enough on this side. Kind of set up. Blend it out. Okay. I think I just need a little bit more. Again, first nail of the think this might be my first acrylic of the year. First 3 nails don't count. Okay, we're walking away from that for a moment. Now, filling the pothole. So here's the issue that I used to have when I first started doing something like this, and it was super frustrating because I felt like it just took forever to do, is I would get my brush, I would get some powder, and I would plop it in there, and then I'd start wiping everything out. Well, shoot, I need more. And I would do it again, and I would do it again, and I was like what is the SpongeBob thing? 3 hours later, I still didn't have it thick enough there. So a little trick to filling in potholes or any little gaps you have is, instead of getting it so wet, right? We're gonna grab our product. Don't need a huge pearl there. We're gonna drain it. We're gonna let it set up. Drain it some more. And I'm gonna just push it right there, and I'm gonna leave it alone. Give it about 5 seconds. Wipe all the liquid off your brush. Give it time to set up, then kind of wipe it where you want to blend it, right? Now I'm starting to put a little pressure, right? And I'm not too much pressure because it's still setting up. And I'm going to walk it out. And I put more pressure now as it sets up more. And if you notice, we've filled our pothole. Now a little more product there, or probably a little more product. Or maybe it just needed to be filed there, whatever it is. But if you notice where that pothole was, it's filled. So instead of taking 3 hours to fill it in by doing wet pearls, let that product set up. It's a little scary when we first start doing that, but let us drain the excess liquid and count to 5. Count to 5. And that was really hard for me because I always need to be in motion and I hate waiting, but it will save you time in the long run. Okay, so let's fill in the back side. Again, this is gonna be a little wetter. Okay, I'm gonna wipe my brush off and just pull it out. Go to that cuticle area. Almost forgot to hold my finger down. It was running away from me. Make sure, if you do get in the cuticle, just make sure you grab it. Don't let it dry. Wipe the excess. I'm not taking a brush full of liquid and wiping my skin off. I am making sure it's nice and dry, and then going around and just using that tip of that brush to pull anything out. I'm gonna look at it sideways. You can kind of see right in here, I need some more product. I'm not worried about smoothing the nail out. I'm worried about making sure I have enough product to be able to smooth out. So I'm not gonna keep on adding just so I get a beautifully smooth 2x4. I'm gonna add so I have enough product to file, shape, and blend. Okay, so I'm gonna look at it from my point of view. I apologize because I'm gonna be able to see it better this way. And I'm gonna put it right here, and I'm just gonna kind of blend where I need it. Done. Done, son. Yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna bore you with the rest of them. I'm gonna fill the rest of them and we'll come back and I'll show you how I ungracefully finish file. Okay. I have removed my form on the one. It's very interesting looking. Not too bad. I don't care if my nails are bumpy or lumpy anyway, as you know, so it's not too bad. The one big difference I do when I'm filing myself versus a customer is, if you have watched my videos, I always go to the electric file first because I don't like to pick up things twice. But before I go and refine with my hand file. But when it comes to doing myself, I like to actually refine my sides first and then go into the electric file. So I'm just gonna do a couple on camera. We'll do the rest off. So the one I built out, same concept. We wanna make sure that it's not too wide. So I'm coming up and in, taper on my side a little bit. And I guess the big difference is I kind of file with both hands. I'm kind of moving both hands when I do myself on my opposite side. And then this side, come up this way. Again, I've seasoned my file really good. You can tell because I have been sliced bad with the brand new file, so I am obsessive when it comes to seasoning my files. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at it this way. Now and again, I'm moving my right hand back and forth and holding my file straight, using my finger to kind of brace it so it can be pushed up on. Once I have done that to all of them, I'm gonna come back through. I'm gonna go ahead and switch out to my coarse safety bit again. Pull it out. Go ahead and go do about 14,000 RPMs. This time I'm not really bracing, which I don't like to do. A lot of times I'm holding it up a little higher so you guys can see on camera, but a lot of times when I'm doing myself, this is how I would be, because then I'm bracing on the table itself. But for you guys, I'm gonna just hold it up so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Coming through, blending anything that needs to be blended. That's all we needed, and then I'm just gonna go through and refine with my hand file. I tend to do more hand filing when I'm working on my opposite hand than I would normally. And to get that tapered, if you notice, I'm just kind of pointing the file, let's see, it's in contact with the tip of the nail, not the back of the nail. And that'll give us the nice little curve that we're looking for. So I'm mostly focused on the front end of the nail right now. Okay, once I have that, really make sure, and then I can go and blend the back area in. Again, not graceful, but it's getting the job done. Feels weird to file your own free edge because it kind of vibrates. So what I try to do is I try to take my thumbnail and push against it as I'm doing it. It helps. I kind of hold it down. I don't know, you guys can see this, but I'm towards the edge of the table because I'm working on myself, but I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm just kind of bracing against the edge of the table and holding my fingers up that way so I can actually see which direction the shape is going. And it's kind of crooked. So we're gonna try to fix that on this end. There we go. I'll finish the rest off camera. That is how I do my opposite hand. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully I didn't make you too sick, and I am going to finish the rest off camera and quit torturing you guys.
If you enjoyed our video, please give us a like and also subscribe to our channel. Free education, tons of videos that you can watch. You can head into our insane library and get educated on nails right now.